What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Backstop Banter. Got a nice little guest on here today. Michael, stop trying to steal my thing.
I'm sorry. I just when I see you, that's the only time I ever think of it. Like I've never done it outside the show, but when I see that
Well, let me tell
pretty
you know why,
face,
it takes a lot of time to look this good. You know what I'm talking. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So, but whatever. What's going on, everybody? Michael, how we doing?
Doing great. Thanks for asking. How are you?
Well, I was good until you attacked me.
I didn't.
But
Anyways,
whatever. It's fine. Why don't you introduce our guest for us, Michael?
right below us down here, we've got a wonderful guy. He's got his own show that he co-hosts with
Moose.
I was thinking Garrett in my head, but seeing Moose's face, and it's the XFL.
The People's XFL show.
There we go. The People's
You're
XFL.
doing great, Michael.
I am
Doing great.
rock solid right now. But the People's XFL, and he is from Iowa. His name is Garrett from Iowa. Garrett, thank you so much for being on here.
Oh, my pleasure, guys. Let's do her.
Yes,
we are
sir.
very professional, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, I like to say that
Yes.
we're basically a talk show. Oh, look at this! Look at this! Josh already with the sorry, because as you guys know, Josh was supposed to be on again, second week in a row. This man wanted to.
Josh, this hurts my heart, man. This hurts my heart. My daddy taught me a saying: "Screw me once, shame on you. Screw me twice,
Tell him about twice, Michael. What happens twice?
me."
Yeah, you know what? You're damn right. And well, I mean, if you're J. Cole, you say "screw me" 3 times. Screw the peace sign. And then I would say the rest of the words, but we like to keep it professional here. But you guys know what song I'm talking about. So make sure you check it next Thursday. All right, John. Listen, if you, as J. Cole said, if you screw me over the 3rd time, Country Mike, I love. Oh, my God. I love how he doesn't say anything to his actual co-host, though.
I love you too, Josh, but I'm hurt. I am hurt.
Whatever, Josh. We just had to replace you. Things happen.
Yeah,
The show
and
goes
it's
on.
kind of crazy. Yeah, let's just throw this out here before we get really dove into it, whatever. We asked Josh for 2 weeks now, and give him a week's notice. Like, Josh, it's coming up. Hey, you weren't on today. You're going to be on next week. And then all of a sudden we're like, does anyone want to replace Josh because he bailed on us 2 hours ago? Instantly, Garrett, I'm available. Thank you so much. We appreciate you coming on here. Other than your attire, which I am offended by. I'm about to call Joe Biden right now and try to say I'm hurt with this. To come on this show and wear anything other than Reds or Yankees and you got on Cubs. I'm hurt. But it's okay because you're going to bring great content right here for us. And obviously, if you looked at the title and the information, we're going to be talking about the Cubs. So it's fitting. So we do appreciate it. Going to be probably a quick show, try to get into everything, get going with this. But before we actually get into the show, Connie, what do we have to do?
Yes, sir. Let's see. I'm going to try to share the screen right here. So it's going to be a little interesting for a quick second.
Boom.
Oh, God. Is it on? Hold on. Here we go. Bam. Interesting. I know it looks weird. All right. But of course, first up, you got to go over to MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. Check out everything over here. You can join now, sign up, place your bets. Beautiful everything. Look at that, 50% welcome bonus. We got everything. You can bet with Bitcoin. Slots, casino, table games. Listen, just pull up, come to MyBookie, and when you do, make sure you use code USM100 because it doubles your first deposit. Right here, as it says on the screen, up to $1,000. And why would you not want to do that? So make sure you check out, I almost said RXM because that's the next one, MyBookie, because when you do win all your money with MyBookie, you then want to head on over to RxHemp. RxHemp-USN saves you 10% on your tire order as well. They got the A1 CBD creams over here. They got the cool therapy, warm therapy. Listen, if you're like me and you're in New York, we're getting snow basically every day. It's unbelievable. As we say here in New York, it's out of pocket, okay? So make sure you check out some RX Hemp. When you're done shoveling another 4 inches, will come. You just put a little cool therapy on you. You'll wake up feeling brand new in the morning, and then Next up, we have the Patreon, as we should. $1, you're supporting the squad. $5, you get 10% off the store, which Michael will show you up next. You get access to our Discord chat. You get a discount code for the Unwrap Shop, 10% off. And then when you go up to the $10 tier, you get everything I just said, except the 10% discount is now $20. So you can get some beautiful merch. Then you also get entered into a Keenan Allen signed jersey giveaway. So for $10, you get Keenan Allen signed jersey giveaway, which, listen, let me tell you something. I can't, I'm not sure I can divulge yet. But, we already have the next jersey for next month. I just want to say there might be a few people that I know that might want that jersey as well. So make sure you check it out. $10 a month. You can get yourself entered into contests like that. We're doing an Amazon gift card giveaway as well with the $5 and $10 tier, the Discord chat. I mean, listen, people, it is a wonderful, wonderful thing that we are doing over there. So make sure you go and check it out. And then, of course, Michael has brought up the beautiful Unwrap store. So if you do join that Patreon, you will get a discount code for this wonderful store. We have the Unwrapped gear. So if you want to support the brand, support Perry's hard work and coming up with all these designs, make sure you check that out. And then as you scroll down, you will see the individual shows that we have around here as well. So if you like a certain show, make sure you check it out. As you can see, we got the hard count. We got Bets Unwrapped, Fights Unwrapped. We have Generational Sports. We have the Fourth Man. We got the People's XFL show.
There we go.
We have Ladies First with Amber, who was on before us, the hardest worker around here, Saturday Standouts. And, of course, you have our boys, Backstop Banter. You got us, boys. And I know Dalton,
boom,
who we will get to later on in the show, got his merch in the mail looking spiffy, if I say so myself.
Yes.
So make sure you check that out. We got all the colors you want. We got a beautiful shirt. We got a mask for everything going on in the world right now. So make sure you check out the store as well. Business Casual Basketball should also be in there. I feel like I'm going to forget some. Oh, Keeping It Blunt will obviously be in there as well. So make sure you check out the store. But that will be the Bills for today. Now we can jump into what everybody's here for, the baseball conversation. You know what? Since Garrett's here, we're covering the Cubs and the White Sox today. We got to start off with the Cubs. Oh, Michael, you okay there?
We're talking Cubs. I'm sorry.
You see, here's the situation I'm in. I could care less for the Cubs because I'm a Yankees fan. So they have no, they've never done anything to me. So
I'll just be honest.
You guys can go back and forth all day. I'll sit here and watch peacefully.
And I've told you before why I don't like the Cubs. Honestly, where I live here in Kentucky, WGN used to only play the Cubs. You couldn't even watch my Reds. And, kind of liked them. Sosa, Mark Grace, I think, was the first baseman. Really loved him. Never wore the batting gloves. So I actually liked the Cubs for a while. But then as I got older and went to some of the Reds baseball games, I tried to go to the American team game while the Cubs come, but still cheer for my Reds. And the fans in Cincinnati were horrible as the Cubs fans were.
They're just South.
It was just awful. Like, they spilled beer on us. And my dad, who is a retired vet, thank you, sir, I thought was about to kill someone because they spilled beer on my sister. And that's when it got crazy. And that's when it got real. But anyways.
I would legitimately pay money. I might buy the plane ticket and game ticket for you to come to Yankee Stadium then.
Really? But see, no. But see, if I'm a Reds fan going to the Yankee Stadium, I would expect to get heckled because I'm the guest. But these were the guests being the jerks at my home field or at my stadium, at my ballpark.
You use that term very loosely because everybody knows that Cincinnati is just Wrigley South.
I mean, it is like, 5 hours away from each other, something like that.
And we'll also say this. Who has the bigger fan base there, Michael?
Cincinnati Reds does.
That's why there are more Cubs fans at Cincinnati games than there are Cincinnati games.
Exactly.
They really
It's
are.
like a Rays game. You go to a Rays game when they play the Yankees, they do chants for the Yankee players and boo the Rays at their own stadium.
I mean, in all legit, like seriousness, when they did the 7 inning stretch, we always say instead of the home team, it's the Red Legs. You could actually hear Cubbies more than you could hear Red Legs. It was kind of disappointing.
Yeah, there's legit 3 locations for Wrigley. You have the federal historical landmark that is Wrigley Field in Chicago. On the National Register, thank you very much. And then you have Wrigley North in Milwaukee, which is basically another home field for the Cubs, and Wrigley South in Cincinnati, which is another home field game for the Cubs.
I mean, I would agree, sadly enough. But I will say, there are a lot of Reds fans all over the world. Sorry, I'm dropping this. When I was in college and actually went out to San Diego with the college, the Reds were playing there and actually ran into a bunch of Reds fans while I was there, and it was kind of cool. And the history that the Reds have is amazing. Like, I found this out the other day. I didn't know this. I was talking to a fella on the phone at 3 a.m. in the morning. I'm sorry, a fellow, a friend. And he actually was telling me that the Reds' name, Redlegs, actually come from military base. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. I never knew that about it.
Well, you know what? You learn something new every day when you come on. When
It's
you watch
exactly
the show.
what I
Every
told you.
Thursday, basically talking baseball and a history lesson because
That's
we're some of
right.
the smartest around.
Hey, the Reds are the oldest team in MLB.
Have you ever heard of the? Oh gosh, I don't want to get this wrong now because I just said that. Joe DiMaggio for. Oh God, who was Ted Williams trade? You ever hear about that?
I did, yes.
That's literally one of my favorite stories.
Yes.
I'm going to tell it real quick because I can't leave people cliffhanging like that. So, the Yankee owner and the Red Sox owner, as I say that, were at a bar together, and they actually wrote down a trade to swap the players because they were tired of. Gosh, I keep forgetting the names. DiMaggio hitting, center field home runs that, old Yankee Stadium was, or the Polo Grounds, things like that was like 500 plus feet to center field. So they were tired of that. And then, of course, the Red Sox player, Ted Williams, Jesus. Ted Williams, they were tired of him getting foul balls from the pesky ball. So they were just going to swap them because they thought that they would play better in each stadium. They got drunk, woke up the next day, and we're like, yo, what the hell were we doing? But they were literally going to do it, but one of them fell asleep. Unbelievable. Could you imagine? That's the type of story I love. That's just drank too much, had too much fun type of story right there. That's where you think you're invincible.
Well, that's even, come to think about that, the whole decision of the DH when it first came out, why the NL decided to not have the DH and the AL have the DH. It was in the 70s, I think it was, and one of the owners, instead of going to the meeting to discuss it, I think it was a Pirates owner, said, do whatever Philly does.
Yes.
And they were supposed to actually say DH, and he went on a fishing trip. And I really think it was the Phillies. I could be lying about that story, but he flipped over to not having a DH, and that vote that Pittsburgh did caused them not to have it, which Pittsburgh was adamant for having it. So it's kind of funny that he went fishing instead of going to this meeting, and it changed baseball for years.
For the worst. Oh, let me say that.
Prior 2020, it was not for the worst. Now that 2020.
Mike, I can't believe you really did enjoy the DH.
I didn't. I'm a strategic kind of guy. I like how you kind of hide.
That double switch is very entertaining.
Well, no, I liked it even, which we'll get into LaBrusa some. He started batting his pitcher instead of the ninth at eighth. So when your good batters got up, you'd have another person on at that ninth spot who would have a good chance of getting on and do those different numbers there. I think it's interesting. But that's not how the game's played anymore. It's either you hit a dinger or you get walked or you get a single or you strike out.
This is very true. But all right, let's get into it. We'll start off with those Cubbies. You know what? I'll let our resident Cubby fan take it away. Give the little rundown for us of what they've done. Let the people know, because I'm sure that a lot more. I know that obviously the Darvish trade. They got rid of Schwarber. They brought back Arrieta. So there's definitely a lot of things they did. But break it down for the people in from the eyes of a Cubs fan.
It's very frustrating being a Cubs fan right now.
Yay.
My grandparents were from Chicago. I been a Cubs fan since I could walk. I bleed Cubby blue. In 2016, 3 o'clock in the morning after Game 7, I was on the phone with my 79-year-old grandmother listening to her cry for joy because she was so happy we had finally won one. That's how deep Cubbies run in my family. So I don't care what the Cubs do. I'm going to be there. Cubs in 4, I don't care. But it's really hard to get behind a team when you don't know what the team is doing. And that's been the frustrating part of this offseason. Right at the end of the last season, they said that we were not going to rebuild. We were going to be contenders. And then they traded Yu Darvish, our best pitcher, for a bunch of prospects. So it made it seem like we were going to rebuild. And it's like, okay, I can get behind a rebuild. We haven't got the results we wanted other than 2016. I mean, 17, 18, 19, 20, we were all, playoff appearances, championship appearances, didn't get another series. So you want to kind of rebuild and take a step back, that's fine. But then they said we weren't going to rebuild, which doesn't make any sense because if you aren't going to rebuild, then why are you getting rid of Darvish? But we need to shuffle the lineup and get rid of some of the core. So they got rid of Schwarber and they let Lester walk. And then like a month later, they decided that, no, we're going to compete for the division and got Jack Peterson, which no hate for Jack Peterson. I think he's going to be great, but he's basically a slightly faster Schwarber. It's almost the same player. So if that's the route we were going, why didn't we just keep Schwarbs? And then they bring back Arrieta when they let Lester go. And once again, I love Jake. I'm excited to have him back in Chicago. But if that's the money you were going to shell out, why didn't you just keep Lester? So it's a little frustrating, but it sounds like we're going to make a run at the Central Division, which we should be able to because the Central is fairly weak. I don't know who else is going to challenge us. Maybe St. Louis, but
I couldn't hear you there, Michael. Could you speak up a little bit?
The Reds, no.
And this one belongs to the Reds.
I don't think so. They were supposed to be good last year. What happened?
We couldn't hit a ball.
You guys couldn't hit the ocean if you were swimming in it.
We didn't have the DC 3 bats that Dalton makes.
By the way, if you don't follow that Instagram page,
I mean, it's dope.
Bro, they're
It really
beautiful.
is.
No. But overall, I'm starting to get behind this lineup. I'm not a big fan of all the offseason moves, but the pitching rotation looks like it's going to be okay even without Darvish. You got Kyle Hendricks leading it off. You got Jeff Davies in there. Zach Davies. I got the name wrong there. Zach Davies, who is another kind of off-speed placement, gets a lot of ground ball guys. When we got the infield to handle the ground balls, you got Adbert. I'm going to say this wrong. Alzolay, hard thrower coming up out of the minors. Looks really good. Be solid. You got Kimbrel in the bullpen yet. He's going to be good. And there's still moves that could be made there. And looking out for catchers, you got Willie still there, which he was one of the guys they were talking might get traded this offseason, which I hope not because I love Willie. He is amazing with the gun downs. Really good catcher, been getting better every single year. Infield, you got Baez holding down short, and that guy is just a magician on defense. So no holes there. Bryant's coming back at third for at least the first half of the season. There's talks that something might change at the deadline, but who knows? Nobody knows what they're doing. Second base is a little bit of a hole, but you've got both. You got Nico Horner and Ian Happ could come in from the outfield and play second, and they have both been very, very good. Looking to have breakout years. Hayward's holding down right field. Been a Golden Glover for the last 300 years or however many it's been. Just a ridiculous amount. He's going to have right field locked down. And Jock to play left. I'm excited about that. Left-handed bat to throw in there. And should provide a boost to the defense in right field. I don't think Schwarber was terrible, but Peterson is definitely a little bit better of a defender. And center field, possibly Happ. They also just signed Maben. He could spend some time out there too. So they've been making a lot of solid moves. And the Central, And outside of St. Louis, which is kind of a dumpster fire right now in between everything with Molina going on, and I mean they did get Arenado, but I don't think his hitting production will maintain now that he's away from Coors Field. So I expect a drop off there. I really think the Cubs should win this division by 5 games or more.
Oh, wow. Personally, I feel like it is the Cardinals to lose. I just feel like, and kind of like you said, I'm just going to go with what you were saying there, is the Cubs, they don't really know what they're supposed to be doing because you hear at one point, you think even with the trades that they've made and the signings that they didn't do, I just feel like they're almost like, hey, we're just going to go ahead and punt now and start rebuilding. But, you mentioned who was the shortstop?
Baez.
They have him ranked right now as the 7th shortstop. Talked about, I think he won his first Gold Glove this last 2020 season. Struggled a little bit at the plate as far as long balls or power, but still did fine.
Oh. That's the only reason he's 7 is because of the plate.
Right.
He's easily
he's the best fielder.
He's
the best
top
fielding
defense
shortstop.
Yeah.
And I even read an article actually was talking about why his offense was bad last year is because there were no fans. And, of course, that'd be everyone's excuse.
The biggest thing last year was actually the Astros. Because one of the changes they made last year after it came out that the Astros were straight up cheating, they took away the video to watch your at-bats in the dugout. And he was just a really big adjustment guy. Every at-bat, he was back in the dugout, watching the video, seeing what he needed to do different. Mm-hmm. And they took that away from him. And he has publicly said that he felt that really contributed to his struggles
I thought
at
that
the plate.
They took it away from the dugout, but I thought you could go down into like the bullpen area behind the dugout and watch it still.
I don't know exactly what the setup was. I just know that they took it away from the dugout, and he said he just did not have the access to the video he was used to, and he felt that it really hurt his at-bat. So it's an adjustment. I think they're going to let them have that back this year.
I think if anything, like I said, I think they let them have it like deeper in the clubhouse. Like you had to like go down the steps and all the way back, which, even that, like you said, if you're used to walking away from your at bat, even if you struck out something like that, and going straight to the dugout and being able to watch it immediately, instead of that, having to go all the way down to the back of the clubhouse, into the batting cages or something like that, where they were allowed to keep the video. Like that's a big adjustment to make anyway, because then you got to worry about, am I going to make it back in time for the start of the inning and this, that, and the third. So that is an adjustment for him, but I think he's easily. They don't call him the magician for no reason. I kept wanting to say it in Spanish, but I can't remember how to say it. But
Mago.
Yes, there we go.
That's my boy.
I could not remember the correct pronunciation. I was not going to try. Listen, I did not do very well in Spanish class.
Do we think that Kimbrel is back? I've seen something on Bleacher Report that said that he feels, and they emphasize the word feels, that last year's problems have been corrected. Do we feel like he's going to be I won't say top of the line, but a good fit this year, or is he still going to have?
I have such a hard time taking last year for anything. Don't get me wrong. I understand, I don't take anything away from like the World Series and all that, because I still think like you earned that. And I don't take away too much from stats, but I do in a certain way. I know, Michael, we've had that argument plenty of times with Bauer because, he only played the Central basically. And all those teams all those teams were in the bottom 25 of offensive production. So there's certain numbers I look at and like,
because of Bauer.
No, because they're terrible. So, you look at things like that, but I think he can come back. I really do think fans mean a lot more to players than a lot of people think. Personally for myself, I know I like the fans, and not because I am one. I just think it brings something to the game. You can tell, the excitement level sometimes. I feel like players almost didn't want to get pumped up as much because everybody can hear what they say. You can't really get the competitive juices flowing when if you scream something from the dugout, the players in the other dugout can hear you and the umpire can hear you. So now you're getting a warning thrown out of the game. Like we saw it a couple of times. I can't remember who it was. Somebody got thrown out of the stands. A player got thrown out of the stands for saying something.
Yep.
So like there was definitely things going on last season. So I think he can return to form. I think a lot of players.
I think it was Tucker Barnhart for the Reds.
Was it?
I know there was.
That sounds right.
I know at least there were games that he was heckling from the stands. I don't know if it was
Well, first, let me tell you something,
during
by the
spring
way.
training stuff, but I do know that there was articles of that he was sitting in the stands. I vaguely remember it though, but
Let me tell you something. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, throwing somebody out from the stands. But I digress. I think there's a lot of people that will have bounce back seasons this year. As much as I hate the Astros, I think Altuve will probably bounce back a little bit. I think everything got in his head last season. No fans. Obviously that was the first year from the scandal. I think a lot of things got in his head. Kimbrel, I can go down the list of Yankee players, but I'm not doing that either. So I think a lot of things are going to change this year. Listen, Michael, all because I like a good team doesn't mean you have to be jealous.
I like a good team.
Yeah, okay. They're very good at not filling their ballpark.
You know what? Let's keep on going.
But no, I think a lot of people have bounce back seasons. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I don't know if you look at it the same way, but I'll let Michael take it away, I guess.
Well, I mean, I have to agree with you on some point because feeling the normalcy, I guess, back to reality, So even though it's probably going to be like at 25% or 30% full, at least you can feel fans in there and field and even feed off of their energy too. So I think that will have these players come back relaxed because. If you ever played basketball and it's a close game and you're shooting a free throw and like even at the home court, like all the fans get quiet trying to not distract you, that's a distracting not hearing any noise too. So if you take that even to a batter in the batter's box, not hearing anybody hollering anything and just complete quiet, you're probably way being analytical on what's going on and overthinking things where you're making your own errors. So I think getting the fans back will have a lot of these players who did have a bad season have a better season. Now, do I think it's going to be tremendously? Probably not. But I definitely think our players that 2019 were good that struggled this year. Like Mike Trout struggled this year. He was like fifth in the NL MVPs, not the NLs, but the MVP total.
How dare he?
He struggled last year, so we definitely think he's going to.
You think he has a better WAR than 3 MLB teams?
Yes.
That's disgusting.
That is crazy.
That's disgusting.
Well, and the thing with Kimbrel too that I think people don't realize is with a 60-game season, any slump is going to be magnified. Oh, yeah. And in all honesty, he had a rough 20, 25 games out of the gate. Mm-hmm. At most. You could probably even call it like a 15 to 20, but just to be generous, we'll call it 20 to 25. And in a normal year, that's nothing. Like nobody's even going to blink at a reliever being off for a 20-game stretch. But when you're only playing 60 games, that's a third of the season. Mm-hmm. So I think he was a lot better, especially towards middle and end of the year, than a lot of people realize because he was just, especially I'll say like the first 10 times he was out, he was just terrible. Just didn't have control and was getting flustered, was giving up walks. Because with a guy like Kimbrel, you're going to give up homers. Mm-hmm. Hopefully not a lot, but it's going to happen because he throws hard. But when you start walking 2-3 batters in a row, that's not what you're there for. And once we got towards the middle back end of the season, he got that back under control. And yeah, he was giving up the occasional dinger and wasn't getting every save. He wasn't like 100% Craig Kimbrel form, but he was pitching well and doing a good job. So I completely believe him when he says things are back. And the other thing, especially with pitchers, I expect a lot of pitchers to bounce back because it was a rough offseason for them. Mm-hmm. Because I think somebody said a minimum 3-week process to get your arm up to season form when you're a pitcher. And a lot of guys work into it longer than that. So they were working into it, getting the workouts, getting their arm up to form, and then they got shut down. And then they were going to come back. And then they got shut down again. And then they were back on like a 3.5 week notice. That's not a good offseason for pitchers because there's a lot that goes into getting your arm ready, getting up to speed, just being in pitching shape. So I'm not really worried about Kimbrel. Maybe he'll prove me wrong, but I really want to know whether or not he grew the beard back because I think that's what it was.
That's an elite beard.
Now, see, here's another reason why I don't really think that the Cubs will probably win the division this year, or at least the Central, is because we're still hearing rumors that Chris Bryant might be traded. Like,
That's what I wanted to get into. So,
like,
you better segue.
yeah. I mean, I feel like the Cubs still don't know their identity for this year. Yeah, they've got the good pieces, and I mean, even Hayward talking about how no one's picking them this year, so he's loving that they're the dark horse or the underdog. But still, you're talking about trading Chris Bryant.
I have not seen anything from anyone in the Cubs organization saying that they want to trade Chris Bryant. It has all been backdoor, anonymous sources. There are talks. Teams are making offers.
Those are legit too.
Yeah, I'm not 100% convinced that the Cubs really want to trade Chris Bryant. And the other thing, like, I'm going to pick on the Yankees here a little bit. What's your owner's name? Steinbrenner? George Steinbrenner?
Steinbrenner. George is dead, but, it's all right.
Yeah, okay. So the Steinbrenner family, they could legitimately not have fans for 4 seasons straight and bleed money, and they're going to be okay because they have owned the Yankees since 1783 or whatever the hell it is. Forever. Their stuff's paid for. They're rolling income right now. And with the
Cubs, they did lose the most money in the MLB last year. Just saying.
Well, yeah, but they can afford to because they've been in their positions for so long. With a team like the Cubs, the Ricketts are not less than a decade in. Where are you showing me? I can't read. Russell Wilson would accept trade. Yeah, the Bears were on that list too. So
listen, Michael, we don't care about the Cowboys.
We don't care about football right now because if we go down that rabbit hole, this is baseball talk. If we go down the football rabbit hole, that's going to be a mess. But with the Ricketts, they redid Wrigleyville. They put a bunch of money into real estate, everything in between the 2019 and 2020 season. And they came into this with the business model that the Cubs were going to be a self-supporting part of their business. And they're trying really hard to stay with that, but they're leveraged. They got a lot of debt with it, and they just aren't in the same position as some of these other teams where the ownership groups have been in place for longer and haven't just invested a whole bunch into real estate. So I think that's part of it is seeing where their money is at, and with the position they're in, they'd be stupid to not listen to offers for anybody on that team. But just because they're taking phone calls doesn't mean they necessarily want to, but there is such a thing as a deal you can't refuse.
See, I'm also a firm believer in if there's smoke, there's usually a fire. I mean, like I said, usually, but I mean, at some point with all the reports, I feel like something has to be true. And it's not like, to me, it's random people, it's well-known, plugged into the baseball world, kind of people. I know when the Mets were looking to trade for Arenado, when they didn't get that, immediately everything came out. We're like, all right, well, fine. They're going to trade for Bryant as well. So it's a weird situation. If I'm them, I stay in the boat of I would never, unless you said, like you said, it's an offer you can't refuse if the Godfather comes up to you and says that. So I guess Michael, I know you like that. You probably didn't even think I knew about the Godfather.
I've actually never watched the Godfather.
Oh, but Jesus, but you get on me about things.
Yeah, well, and with where there's smoke, there's fire. I think you're right, but I think the fire is the fact that they are taking calls to see what teams are offering. I don't think that the Cubs are out there actively shopping Chris Bryant.
Oh no, I don't think they
want to get rid of him.
Yeah, no,
they're just willing to listen to offers. I think that's the fire that they will take phone calls.
And see, that's the thing. I don't have a problem with that either. Like I saw it in New York with Jamal Adams. Shifting over to the football side of thing real quick, like he got disrespected because they were taking phone calls about him. Bro, the GM is doing his job.
Right.
Like, listen, let me tell you something. I love basically every player on the Yankees. If there was an offer for a single player that was absolutely insane, and they were like, you know what? No, we don't take business calls past 6 o'clock. I would go down to the stadium and riot. So, I mean, taking calls on a player is very different than actively shopping somebody. Like, if, like, Michael, I'm sorry. If Skip, listen, people might not like Skip Bayless, but the man has a following. If he pulls up to me and says, listen, I kind of want to, take over the show with you, I'd say, listen, Michael, we're great friends. Goodbye. It'd be different.
Wow.
That's different than if I was hitting up other people and was like,
that
listen,
hurts.
I can't stand Michael. I need a replacement.
You know,
Yeah. Well, and you look
like
at what
any
the
of this.
Cubs took for
None of
Yu
this
Darvish.
hypothetical talk is being presented very well to me right now. So,
well, you look at what the Cubs took for Yu Darvish on trade. They were obviously shopping Darvish. They wanted to move him for whatever they could move him for whatever reason. And if they were shopping Chris Bryant, he'd be gone by now because they would have took something for him. And I'm not saying it's impossible that he gets traded. I just think it's going to have to be a good deal. I have 4 or 5 prospects that are going to play in 2022, be ready to come up 2022, not guys that are going to be ready that haven't shaved yet.
right.
And maybe even a couple of players that are currently at the major league level.
I would agree. And while we got just a second, let's do a mid plug if you don't care. Just sitting here thinking, what if mybookie.ag had a bet right now going on if Chris Bryant would get traded or not?
Listen, Michael, let me stop you because I actually do have a great bet that my bookie has right now.
Okay, let's hear it.
Apparently, you can bet on if Spider-Man is going to show up in WandaVision.
I saw that.
I'm just saying.
Really?
So if you want to head over to my bookie USN 100, double your first deposit, put all of it on Spider-Man. I heard the odds were plus 900. So if that hits, we're talking some cash here.
That's good money right there.
Wow. Ooh. I'm thinking way out there.
Listen,
let's not go.
Let me tell you something. I have to write this paper from one of my classes tonight.
Mm-hmm.
WandaVision doesn't come out until 3 a.m. because we got to wait for you soft California people for midnight. I might just stay up and watch it. I might just stay up.
So it comes on tonight?
Yeah, 3 a.m. baby.
See, I waited for half of them to come out, and I actually just watched all 6 like in 2 days.
7.
So is there 7? Oh, so I've got one waiting on me. Yay!
I think there's 7 at least. I thought there was.
I'm through 6, I believe.
All right,
there might be 7. There might be 7 though. I don't think I watched any last week, so there might be a new one from last week I haven't seen yet.
Oh.
Did not know that she was a sister to an Olsen twin.
Yeah, me neither. Let me tell you something. It blew my mind. One of my friends said it in my group chat, and I literally had stared at my phone for like a half hour. I was amazed.
Yes. Oh yeah. So since we did our mid plug with AG, let's go on over to. I'm trying to move my notes here because I did try to write a little thing down here. On over to the AL Central, and let's go ahead and dive into the White Sox.
Yes, sir.
I would assume, Garrett, that you at least keep up with the White Sox too, at least a little bit. Since
a little bit. They're going to be contenders. I think it's going to be fun. We're going to have 2 good teams in Chicago, so the Crosstown Series is actually going to be fun for another year. Which
the White Sox and the Blackhawks, yeah, 2 good teams in Chicago.
Bulls are currently in 6th place. You forgot them too.
Well, I mean, it's the East.
You know what? That's a great point.
It is the East.
It is the East. But yeah, so it'd be fun to have the series again. They're definitely. I think they're going to be. And they still got to get past the Twins, but they're going to be contenders for the AL Central.
Now, in times past, if you meet the Twins in the playoffs, you're good.
You're a 19-game losing streak.
Yes. Yeah. Is it 19 game or?
No, I think it's 19. I believe it's 19-game losing streak.
I could not remember the series that they've lost in a row, but yeah, we'll just go with
that.
Let
me tell you something. I'll tell you at least 3 of them have been to the Yankees. So.
Oh, yeah.
Big fan of that, by the way.
Speaking of that, we all poke fun at each other for being fans of teams, but can you imagine being a Minnesota fan?
No.
Oh, my goodness.
Like just sports fan in general? You got the Vikings.
The Timberwolves are terrible. The Vikings
The Vikings can't win a playoff. I mean, they might have a decent season, but they can't win a playoff game or a Super Bowl to save their lives.
They got that Minnesota Miracle. They at least had a moment.
Yeah, and then they lost.
No, I said a moment. Don't get me
wrong.
No. Trust me, I said a moment. Let's not get carried away here.
I mean, Brett Favre put that team on its back and did everything he could to get them a Super Bowl, and it just the stars were lined against him, and it could not happen. But
yeah, I mean,
I'm an oddity. I'm a huge Brett Favre fan, even though I'm a Bears fan. I love Brett Favre.
I mean, if you like football, you have to like Brett Favre. I mean, you may not be a big fan, but you just
I believe it's pronounced Favre.
You're getting it, Connie. We're talking about the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, not the guy off that movie.
Oh, I love that movie. The guy with the one with the face.
Super Troopers, yeah, not the guy off Super Troopers, the quarterback for the Packers.
Oh, okay. Favre.
But back to the White Sox. It started off a little sketchy. The hire of Tony La Russa, and then like 3 days before that, he was arrested for a DUI, and some ruckus came on in the locker room, the dugout, if you will, about how the players. I'm sorry, I'm trying to think ahead of myself here, but how the players weren't happy with the hire of La Russa because he was the old school style, and with the analytics, he didn't really buy into. But as we get more closer to it, now we even had, I think, I got his name here. Let me see if I can catch it. Tim Anderson, who said he is 110% bought into La Russa's system now, so he's ready to go with that. So just got some different things going on there.
It's interesting. I listen to a lot of Chicago area podcasts, and the White Sox, I don't. They should be contenders. I know that the one very vocal White Sox fan that I pay attention to on a podcast cannot understand why they aren't spending money.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, they have a smaller payroll this year than they did last year, and this is supposed to be their window. So he's kind of frustrated about that, but they got that one pitcher that took last year off. So after Tommy John, he had Tommy John surgery 2019, took last year off because of COVID or something. I'm not going to get into that, but so they got a guy that hasn't pitched in 2 years, but it's supposed to be really good. I'm blanking on his name right now.
Quintana's on the Cubs, isn't he?
He was. I'm not sure where he ended up. They did not re-sign him.
I don't know.
Did Jose Abreu? Did he win the MVP?
Yes, and I just looked up stuff. Before this, he actually he tested positive for corona coming into spring training. So that's obviously an annoying thing for them. And it's I hate it. I don't want it to start already. The COVID concerns. Obviously, baseball went through that enough last season. So it's going to be annoying, to say the least, trying to go through all that again. So hopefully this is just, a one and done situation. I don't know but you see, I like the way the MLB is doing it, though. I'll say that. You get tested before you come into spring training, so it's not like you're there and then you get tested. They can isolate him before, obviously. So it's definitely a good thing. But I mean, this is their window. I'll say that, to say the least. I think that they're going to win this division. The Twins got worse. I don't know how I feel about the other teams in that division. There's just nothing really that excites me. Anybody else? So I really think, and even if you look at the predictions from the MLB and all those sites that try to project wins and this, that, and the third, their fancy computers and things like that. They have the White Sox winning this division as well. And, just listening to a lot of, baseball content, a lot of people think it's going to come down to the Yankees and White Sox. I think that would be super fun, especially because the White Sox are a really young team. They have Moncada, obviously Abreu's their cornerstone, and he was, came up through their system. So it's finally nice for them. But
even Luis Robert, I think last year he was a rookie. He had a great season. Second half, he started dying down some, but
Tim Anderson is very good.
I was going to say, I'll root for that team just because of Tim Anderson. He actually
Kopech. That was the pitcher I was trying to remember. Kopech.
Yes, I do. What's his first name?
Michael.
Yes, that was going to annoy me. But
Great name.
I'm not a fan of it, actually.
But they got Kupik, Kukul.
Keuchel.
Keuchel, Giolito, and Kreese.
Giolito was very good.
So, I mean, they got a very dangerous pitching rotation. Anderson's a beast. Yeah, I'm doing terrible on names tonight because I'm not a White Sox guy, but Moncado is a beast.
I see that's another person too. You know, you're finally kind of seeing the trades pay off.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the thing that's kind of fun for a White Sox fan as well. That obviously the Chris Sale trade to the Red Sox, that was the big thing that kind of turned everything around. They got Moncada. I believe that's their third baseman, because Tim Anderson's their shortstop, and then you have Abreu at first. There's somebody in their outfield.
Jimenez. Eloy Jimenez.
Yes, Eloy Jimenez. He's wonderful as well. So they have some names. Like they really do.
He needs to work on his defense, but he is a great bat.
That is absolutely fair to say. So
I even thought it was interesting about the Luis Robert. Even Frank Thomas called him a 6-tool player.
Yeah.
So they're really talking high about how this guy is a Mike Trout like, and even Tony La Russa said that they were paying him last year as an Angels advisor, and he said I would almost have paid to just watch Mike Trout in practice and in his games and just in awe of what he does. And then now he's saying what Robert is doing is mimicking what Trout does. So that speaks pretty high of a rookie player 1 year out of the rookie season here. So me personally, I'm going to keep my eyes on this player and see how he does this year and see if this is a Trout replacement. I won't say replacement. That's way too early. But if it's going to be a player of Trout's caliber.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be fun. I really do think it comes down. Who else is? I should know this.
The
Who else
Indians,
is in that division? Yeah,
the Royals, the Indians.
No,
and we were just talking about them. Oh, the Tigers.
Yeah, so useless is what I'm hearing basically.
It's going to be the Twins of the White Sox.
Yeah,
and we all think the Twins.
Yeah,
and we think the Twins are less than what they were last year.
I mean, I definitely do, to say the least. I know, obviously, on another episode we'll get into them because got to cover them as well. But I think it's going to be fun too, for the simple fact it's kind of just a new team. We've had for the past few years, the Yankees Astros type of thing. We've had on the NL side, we've had the Dodgers and the Cardinals. We've had that before, and it's just a new team. It's something. This is kind of the beginning stages of when you're actually allowed to like an up and coming team. Because I can tell you right now, listen, I saw it with the Yankees, and everybody hates the Yankees. Like I'll say that, but like when they first came up, like the baby Bombers, people still rooted for them because they were new and fun. Like it was a thing. And now they're actually good, so people hate them again. Like this is going to happen with the White Sox, but for now we can actually enjoy the ride, to say the least, because they're new. And I think players on that team breathe life into the baseball. We've obviously seen it with Tim Anderson. He's a big proponent of being able to show off, and that's something that we all hate in baseball. The fact that you can't do it. Like I said, I've said this many times, and I'll probably say it a lot more. You're not going to lose me because I've been a baseball fan my entire life. You're not going to lose the people of that nature, but the up and coming people, like it's boring. It is. And there's just no other way to put it. But Tim Anderson, brings life to it. He's into the bat flipping. He's into, saying thing to people. It's genuinely entertaining. So I'll root for them up until the Yankees play them in the playoffs. So, then we're going to have to take care of business. You know what I mean? My MVP Aaron Judge with his new smile is going to have to take care of him.
Did y'all, speaking of bat flipping, did y'all see the picture from Mars?
Yes. Yes.
They had a picture of the bat that they found on Mars' surface from when Willie Contreras did a bat flip?
No. Listen, if we're going to talk about bats, did you guys see Clint Frazier's batting practice bat that I sent in the chat today? You didn't look at the picture that I sent in. Or my brother sent it in, actually.
Oh, okay. Yes, I did. Okay. The better one.
That's just simply not
the
true.
better Conover brother?
Just listen, first of all, it's not possible. I just like to say that. But
if he ever comes on a stream that I'm on and his display name is not the better Conover brother, I'm going to make him change it.
Well, I'll change it back because we don't appreciate lies on this show. Just like when Michael said, Remuto was going to be the top free agent. Like, I just had to set him straight.
Listen, I'm
Michael,
still
I just want to say
I am still there.
I called that poll perfectly. I had it in order.
But and this is number 3, by the way, so you win the bet. I feel like he is more valuable in any team than some of the players that are free agents. See, now highlights and value are two different things, I think. Like, you get a shortstop, you see the reels that they do. But, I mean, even when we had Dalton on here talking, like, the catcher is a coach on the field. He does so many more schemes that's going on. He knows every batter that comes up, the strength, the weakness, what pitches they can't hit. They know what they do when the runners are in scoring position. That position is so much more valuable than they get credit for. I'm in love with catchers, and I can't believe it.
You know what? Here's my thing, though. Here's my argument against that. Ready? And both of you can answer this. What team has their best player at the catcher position?
Okay, I'm going to use this argument. Trevor Bauer.
Chicago Cubs.
Trevor Bauer, who I say is a very valuable pitcher, is not the number 1 pitcher on any team. But what he brings to the table makes his value in a dollar amount more higher than most pitchers. I've said that from day one too, so it's basically the same argument that I'm going there. What he brings in for the pitchers, Sonny Gray, why he had a MVP run, not that he won it, or a Cy Young race, was because of Trevor Bauer and the analyticals that he had, that he showed him, that he shared, helped our pitching staff so much better. So, do you want to say the best player on a team as a catcher? Who is it? I mean, I think it's kind of a lot of them as far as their mental ability that they bring.
Oh, that could be true. But, hey.
So, I mean, I take that in consideration.
I'm going after the best player.
Well, and you look at, like, Willie Contreras for the Cubs, just watching his development, because the guy never played – he didn't play catcher coming up.
Oh, yeah?
He was an infielder. And I can't remember if it was he was double A or triple A before he started catching. And just watching his development as far as how you frame pitchers and your pitch calling at the catching position, just how much better he's gotten has really deepened my appreciation for a good catcher. And plus the pickoff at first move that he has is freaking lethal. Fun to watch, too.
I appreciate a good catcher. I saw a little bit with Jorge Posada before he retired. And then, Sanchez decided to be good for like 2 seasons and then left his talent in whatever place he went. So, I respect the catcher position. I do. And Dalton is a fantastic guest on this show. But listen, let me tell you, I'm taking a few other places over it.
A good catcher can buy you a good defensive catcher can buy you so many strikes. I think where a lot of the catchers
Not for long.
I don't think we'll ever have a digital strike zone.
Oh, I think
it takes away so much.
I think maximum 3 years we have it.
No, they just need
to have it or until we
idiot
have it.
umpires.
No, we will have it. It will be a thing. Minimum 3, max 3 years.
The umpires union just needs to agree to have some sort of standard with their umpires. Because I don't mind like if the strike zone isn't called perfectly as long as it's called consistently. That's if you're giving them the low and away that's an inch outside all game, I don't care. Give it to them. The batter has to adjust. As long as you're calling the the same pitch a strike every time, regardless of what team is throwing it or what pitcher is out there. I like that. I like the fact that the strike zone isn't well defined. You got the box there, but the umpire might be giving you that one that's just outside, and he's calling that a strike. As long as he's calling it the same all game, I love it. It adds to the game. But you get into good old Angel Hernandez that will call a ball that bounces off the plate a strike. Something has to be done about that.
If I was an umpire, I would have to go to rxhemp.com and use the promo code rxhemp/USN because I would need 10% for some of that cream by the many strikes that I'm going.
Listen,
I don't
I'm gonna
care
tell you
if
something.
it's
I wanted to
close.
be a professional umpire for like a year. I really thought about it. I was like, yeah, it'd be so fun. I umpired for my Little League like 1 year. Never again. Never gonna happen. Not only because I'm surprised I didn't get fired with some of the interactions I had, but also, listen, they were only like 10 years old, but I got a foul ball to the mask. It's not fun, bro. Like, I don't know how these MLB umpires be taking a foul ball to the mask and continue on.
I think he's going to say Mommy and Daddy might have started some arguments that you didn't like.
Oh, no. Listen, there were some arguments that I didn't like, and I certainly I'll tell you some off the show.
Okay.
I got one very interesting one.
Yeah. My dad got his nose broke by a 10-year-old girl pitching a softball.
Oh, okay. So she was pitching.
Yeah.
I remember this too. My brother,
it's a real thing getting hit in the face as an
umpire.
It is.
Bro, my brother, well, I mean, he wasn't an umpire, but still he was actually warming up before a game, and he was talking to somebody this way, and the kid threw the ball at him without him looking, turned right back around, bam, right in the nose. Immediately broken. So, yeah, listen, I got some respect for baseball people.
Yep.
A lot of people tried, listen, let me tell you something. Don't ever stop. We got to stop going on. I have to stop going on Twitter, at least Instagram, because every time there's a baseball post, there's like, the same 5, no profile picture, 6 follower people. That's like, baseball's not a sport. And I'm like, really? This is what we're doing now? We're trying to troll baseball? I can't do it. No. But whatever.
Listen, here shortly, and we've talked about this, but we've got to come up with a panel very soon. And we're going to do that probably, we're like 5 weeks out from opening day, I think. So we'll probably be getting us a panel, I'd say 3 to 4 weeks, probably more.
I think about a week. I think a week or two before opening day, 100%.
But I definitely think some of these things we definitely need to have on the table for our discussion as we go through this. There's a lot of stuff coming up. I mean, I just feel like there's so many things like the DH talk, which we don't know what's going to go on with there. We have heard that the NL is not going to have it, but there's still a possibility that it's DH universal.
Listen, the MLB will change at anything. Did you know that the universal DH was made on opening day last year?
Really?
It was literally opening day when they decided.
Wow, I did not pay attention to that. But then
that's just dirty because it affects so much on how you build your roster.
Oh yeah, and even for players.
Yeah, to make the change at this point is absolutely ridiculous.
It's like, I mean, one of my favorite players is Albert Pujols, and I'm even thinking him, like, what if he were to have signed last year or this offseason? I'm just hypothetically with a team that's in the NL. Like, what if he wanted to go back to St. Louis, play the last couple of years of his career there because they have a DH? I can do that. Oh, no, they didn't. So I'm screwed,
Yep.
So, but
they're trying. I saw, and listen, I don't know if it's just because the Cardinals decided to do it, but I saw something on Instagram today that the MLB posted on their Instagram.
Man, that looking good.
You're the
MLB
worst.
posted on their Instagram.
You're the worst. But MLB posted on their Instagram, like, it was literally soft toss, but the coach was mic'd up, and it was fun. Actually, it wasn't soft toss. It was
no,
pitcher,
he was hitting it back to the pitchers.
Yes, it was pitcher fielding practice, the good old PFP, and he was just hitting it back to the pitcher. When he would mess up, he would just start laughing and things like that's the interaction we need.
Yes.
Like, don't get me wrong, I love football, obviously. When the Super Bowl was on, I was like, basically a national holiday. But like the days after the Super Bowl, like I'm literally edge of my seat, like refreshing YouTube like an idiot, waiting for the mic'd up to come out. Like that's fun. It's a fun thing the NFL does. You know, you get to see those sideline conversations. How fun is it? You have somebody in right field. Use Mike Trout in center field. He robs a home run in one game. That clip might be viral the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that baseball does wrong is that, and I know we talk about this every show, but I don't care because until they fix it, I'm going to keep talking about it because it annoys the ever-living love out of me.
Pay attention.
But, I mean, you have, Trout rob a home run. That's what the MLB doesn't do well is that once their season's over and, like, free agency's over, like, it's dead. Like, there's no news. I have obviously different shows with Unwrapped. Football is always relevant.
Obviously.
Yep.
Like, it's always listen, Michael, I'm a busy man. But football is always relevant. Like, you can always talk about it. There's always a conversation going on. And baseball, once free agency over, it's like, 180 days till opening day. Let's talk about it at day 150. Or, not 150, day, 30. That's when we'll start talking about it again.
Yeah, as far as football always being relevant, I have a XFL show, and the XFL is not playing a game until February of 2022, and we still have stuff to talk about every week. So, yeah, football does a very good job of staying relevant all year. And on that topic, there's a very interesting question asked on the new SportsMe app the other day. Do you think the Mike Trout versus, who was it? Noah, what's his name?
Syndergaard?
Yeah, the Mike Trout versus Noah Syndergaard fight on Twitter was good for baseball or no?
What fight? I missed
this.
Oh, okay. Well, apparently they had a big Twitter dust up, and the question was, is this type of publicity good for baseball or is it bad?
First of all, now I got to look it up.
Mike Trout has Twitter?
Oh, Mike Trout has Twitter.
I would not have thought that.
No, not Trout. Bauer. Holy cow, I'm getting my name. It was Bauer versus Syndergaard.
Okay. That makes a little more sense.
Bauer versus Syndergaard.
Well,
like,
we got to check that out.
That's how little MLB is out there. Like, let's see here. If Russell Wilson had a beef with Dak Prescott, it'd be on the top of ESPN.
Oh, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, but Bauer versus Syndergaard is barely a blip because Major League Baseball just isn't out there on Twitter the way that all these other leagues are, especially the NBA. The NBA does a great job. So is that good?
I guess Bauer was calling him out for not being friendly to people on Instagram or something right now. Then Syndergaard came back with a GIF, keep digging. And then Bauer said, see you at the bottom. And Syndergaard said, you bring a drone and your mixtape and it's a deal. # take a joke, bro. Listen, I'm kind of, in the business of all publicity is good. Even if people aren't going to agree with it, you're going to have people that will agree with it. Like, there isn't really anything too bad. Like, I've always said that as well. For, as many people that don't like one thing, a lot of people are also going to like it at the exact same time. People might hate something and a lot of people are going to like something. So you're going to have people.
Bauer put, instead of subtweeting me constantly, you could just come out and say you dislike me. Speak up, homie. We're both men. We can handle it. And that's at Marcus Stroman because he put a smiley face or a question mark face on their beef that they got going on. I like it because it gives you a face with baseball. And he was a Red, so it doesn't matter. I like it even more. But, I mean, what rivalry are there really in baseball right now? You've got Boston and Yankees. And
that's not really a rivalry anymore. It's the hammer and the nail.
I mean, well, I was going to say Boston has fallen off the earth, really. So, I mean, it's not really much of a rival as far as like, there's beef. Like, they might actually fight each other. The one I think of, it would probably be St. Louis and the Reds or the Reds in Pittsburgh because every game there's someone hit and there's a brawl or at least the bench is clear. But there's nothing that we can see like a cornerback and a wide receiver going at it on Twitter and then like, he got the better end of the deal on this one. There's none of that in baseball. I want it to be like we need to make it more relevant for the younger generation to actually get involved with this. Like, you don't see anything like a Cam Newton argument going on with a player or with the fans in baseball. Like, it's granted it shouldn't happen, but we need anything. I think right now with baseball, if it's bad talk, it's good for baseball because, like Connie even just said, baseball's not talked at all outside of the season. I mean, we have a show we're doing weekly, but I mean, we're really going through each team for 30 weeks basically, or well, for 15 weeks to try to talk about something, in which we're great at it. Of course we are. Sponsor us, people. But other than that, no, I mean, I think bad publicity is good publicity for baseball at this time in life.
Well, that was kind of my take on it. I don't think that Trevor Bauer Twitter fights is necessarily what you want to be the face of Major League Baseball Twitter, but Major League Baseball won't do anything on Twitter, and they are basically non-existent. So that's what you got. So that's what you got to take, because any publicity is good publicity at this point because they don't do anything. And as far as the rivalry goes, y'all need to get into Chicago Cubs Twitter if you don't think there's rivalries, because there is nothing Chicago fans hate as much as anything that comes out of St. Louis.
Really?
It does.
Well, no, that's absolutely true.
It's a real. It is a real thing. And I'm not sure how much St. Louis hates the Cubs, but the Cubs hate St. Louis with a passion. So,
Michael, it genuinely surprises me that you like Bauer. Looking at his Twitter, it really does surprise me.
Again, if he wasn't a Red, I probably wouldn't.
Like, he's kind of a douche.
Well, it comes back to, like, do you want Trevor Bauer to be the face of Major League Baseball Twitter superstars? Well, probably not, but Major League Baseball isn't doing anything to put anybody else out there, so by default, he is.
Right, and Rachel Luba, his agent, I follow her too, and dude, she's being attacked with some crazy stuff from some people, and she's been posting it. So, I mean, I'd be batting for her too. I mean, heck, look at the money she got me. So,
I guess the other story here is, I guess we might have a little bit more insight on why Bauer didn't pick the Mets.
Yeah,
I mean, he's come at Stroman, he came at Syndergaard. I mean, I guess you weren't going to go pitch for a team where you hated two of their people.
I don't think he actually hates them. I think he just understands better than Major League Baseball what a player's brand means to them and what it can mean for them post-career. And if the Mets would have offered the most money, he would have walked into that locker room, walked up, apologized, made it right, and went out and had a hell of a season.
And if you ever listen to Bauer,
there was anything other than money driving Bauer's decision.
If you listen to Bauer talk, actually, there really was. You can watch some of his YouTube stuff. He didn't care so much of the money as more as will they allow Bauer to be Bauer, as far as what he likes to do in his practice and his training as well. Watch his YouTube. Like, I feel like the dude isn't really a jerk. It's just that's the only way he knows how to be. Like, if he doesn't like that you wear a black shirt, Connie, he would say, I really don't think black shirts look good on you. And it's just like, it's cut dry. It's just, this is what I'm going to tell you. I don't mean anything by it, but this is what I feel like I should do. And that's what I get from a lot of his stuff. It's like, instead of beating around the bush, as we say here in Kentucky, I don't know if you know, but it's just point blank, you go to it. If you're not man enough to handle it, I mean, tell me and we'll get through that, but let's just get on with our lives. That's kind of how I feel like he is as a person, but reading a text or a tweet, you could totally take it any way you wanted to really make it more worse. Like, just saying here, I read the one where he's saying, be better person to your fans. I mean, that's probably him really just saying, man, you really need to be a better person to your fans. But when you read it, it's like, oh, snap, you need to be a better person to your fans, man, and it comes off hateful instead. I like Bauer. I really like watching his YouTube, and you can actually understand him more as a person. If you don't do it, watch it, and then you'll understand what I'm saying. Because he even had an interview with there's a girl pitcher right now that's playing in a college level, and he brought her on his show that he does, and he even was a special guest for her because she does a pod too, and gave him different pointers. And even talking with her, you can kind of hear where it could take, like, he's sounding hateful, but it's really just him trying to help out. So I just think he's misunderstood, man. Just misunderstood.
Aww.
I got you, Bauer. I'm batting for you.
And Major League Baseball is doing a terrible job of it. Like, if any of their PR people had any type of insight. I'm sure I've missed some too, but Yelich versus Yu Darvish was a real thing for about a week, but nobody talked about it, so it never turned into anything because Darvish put out something about how he thought that in the wake of the cheating scandal, he thought that things were off and the batters knew pitches were coming. And Yelich tweeted out that nobody, quote tweeted it and said, "Nobody needs help hitting you, dude."
I do remember that.
Yeah, and it turned into a thing, but only for a week. Now, if you had a good PR team for Major League Baseball, you could turn that into a whole Twitter thing and introduce the game to a younger generation, gain followers, get people that were interested. Because I tell you what, I was on the edge of my seat every time Darvish was pitching Yelich last year.
See,
and it was awesome. I'm pretty sure Yelich went 0 for 10 against Darvish last year.
See, the only problem with that is, though, I understand that more than not promoting your players, because you look at any league, they don't really promote, the rivalry thing. They do in a way, if they make a hype video before a playoff series, they'll show the moments where, things got a little testy. But other than that, it's not like it's not like us where if you see somebody arguing, you retweet it and, you give your 2 cents. The MLB, NFL, NBA and all that, if their 2 players are arguing, I don't think they're ever going to sit there and, put a gif of them eating popcorn and being like, oh yeah, look at this. So in that manner, I can understand.
It's weird that you brought that one up.
But that's just, I just feel like that's not going to happen in a way. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for it. I think it just makes things it makes things fun. I mean, when Joe Kelly made the pouty face to the Astros.
Yes.
Perfect. That the MLB should have been all over that and things but it turns into a scandal because then you're going to have the people that are like, oh, the MLB is promoting this and that. And then you got those people. So I feel like in that situation, they can't win. Listen, if it's me, if there's a brawl or things like that, even if there's brawls, I don't think the MLB tweets it out. Other pages do. So that's how we see it. But the MLB official account is never going to sit there and be like, hey, you see we got a brawl today in the Yankee Red Sox game? It doesn't happen. And would it be more fun for my generation? Probably. Listen, I think people would really enjoy hockey in my generation, honestly, because there's fights allowed in it.
Oh, man.
I mean, everybody loves UFC and things like that. So I think those situations would be fun to be retweeted and talked about, but I think it puts their official accounts in a sticky situation where it's oh, we don't want to promote the violence of, a brawl and thing like that. So it's a hard balance for them.
You can do it without using the official account. The MLB has PR people. They got reporters on speed dial. They can spin the story however they want. It was just the same thing when the Big Ten was canceled their season and they were talking about bringing it back. The hack that writes for Yahoo, Pete Thamel, he put out an article with a bunch of anonymous sources saying that the season wasn't going to happen. And damn well he decided to write an article about how the season wasn't going to happen and then called the people he knew that would give him the quotes to make his story good. And MLB can do the same thing. They can call the reporters that will write what they want them to write and not have their name officially attached to it in any way, shape, or form, and they can spin the story. It happens every day, and they just choose not to do it.
Yeah, it's fair because, I mean, you even see it in the NBA where they do the polls of the anonymous, GMs, and that becomes a story, not by, the NBA, but, news outlets and stuff pick it up. So it can definitely be done. Like I said, I'm not against it. I think it just makes things more fun. It makes it entertaining. It makes you want to watch something, even if you're not a Yankee Red Sox fan, you watch it because you hope that there's a brawl. I mean, and we've seen plenty of them. I've watched Cubs Cardinals games because I hope that somebody gets hit. When the Dodgers played the Astros, I was watching it because I was praying what happened actually did happen. I was sad that the Yankees didn't get to play the Astros because I can't wait for that this season. I'll tell you that. I can't wait for a lot of teams to play the Astros because
really,
everybody's still getting their revenge.
That's my favorite clip of all time of Anthony Rizzo. Is I can't remember exactly what happened to set it off, but there was like some talking between a pitcher and a batter at a Reds game, and the inning ended. There was some jawing back and forth. Everybody went back to the dugout. Rizzo walked over to first base, and the Reds started chirping at him, and he just threw down his hat, threw down his glove, and went walking into the dugout like he was going to box every single last person in that dugout by himself. It was awesome.
I'd have to see the clip of that.
It was great.
That sounds like Garrett, our closer. He actually took on the whole Pittsburgh Pirates bench as well.
Yeah, I love seeing stuff like
that. Didn't Puig fight the Pirates too?
Yeah, like there was really beef between the Reds and the Pirates. It was that same season. Like Puig was there. Well, Garrett was the one that took off at him, and Puig out of nowhere came from like he flanked them and came around back.
Listen, Yankees Rays has become a rivalry recently. Like those games are very entertaining. You know, we had
it was boring for the fact that we knew if the first person that got hit against the Astros, it was either going to be warning right away or ejection. Like, no, don't do that. Like, don't hinder this. Like, yeah.
They killed that whole situation so fast.
It's absolutely ridiculous. And I really get sick of the people that are like, well, you weren't this mad about steroids. And it's like, well, because steroids wasn't one team cheating. Steroids was the Major League Baseball turning a blind eye to the fact that half or more of the league was juicing up. That was and with the video thing, it was being used across the league in like 2015, 14, 15, something like that. Major League Baseball found out about it, and they made a rule specifically for that situation and said, you can't do this. And the Astros went ahead and did it anyway. That's why everybody was upset. And they got away.
They got away with murder.
Yeah, and a smack on the wrist.
We're at an hour 15 already. You don't want to get me started on Houston. It was just it was absolutely ridiculous. I hope that there are guys getting. I don't even care who they play for now. I hope Altuve plays the entire year with bruised ribs.
Listen, I ain't gonna mind if a Yankee player might so happen to do something mean to them. I would love to see like the Yankee team versus like every other team in baseball though, because they got some big dudes. Like if this was like 3 years ago when they had Betances, CC, Stanton, Judge, and all them, like I'm not fighting the Yankees, bro. Like I'm really not doing it. They had Sanchez as well. Like they had like a bunch of like 6'5" linebackers playing baseball. Like I would have loved to see little Altuve get chokeslammed by Aaron Judge. It would have been just absolutely fantastic.
It would have been like The Undertaker versus Rey Mysterio Jr.
There you go. Nailed it.
Wow. That was fantastic because Undertaker's my favorite wrestler of all time.
Well, Rey Mysterio Jr. is mine.
Isn't it? No, isn't it just Rey Mysterio? It is.
No, There's
no Junior.
It's Junior.
I've never heard it Junior. I've never heard it Junior in my entire life watching wrestling.
Well,
you need to watch more wrestling or pay better attention. One of the two.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, in the last 10 years, it's never been Junior.
I'm telling you, when he was in his prime and he was awesome, it was Junior.
I'm gonna look up some clips now because now I'm annoyed.
Even when he used to wrestle without his mask, when he was in the NWO, it was Junior.
Rey Mysterio wrestled without his mask?
Yes, back in Conan, K-Dog. Oh man, taking me back right now.
Holy cow. I might have to readjust my take here because I just Googled him and every single thing lists him as Rey Mysterio.
Really? It was Junior. Trust me.
I know. I'm with you. I remember him being Rey Mysterio Jr.
Oh.
But if you type Rey Mysterio into it, it's showing the clips of the Rey Mysterio we know, 619, all that, and
619.
It doesn't say Junior anywhere.
Listen, I'm still undefeated on this show. Michael, you're like 0-5 right now. I'm starting to get. We're entering Gary Sanchez level of
Oh
struggles.
wow. Well, they change their names like crazy. Like let's see here. What was it? Six. That was in DX. At one point, he was 123 the Kid. Then he was the Kid. Then he was Six. And then I think he changed his name again. So they changed their name like crazy.
Well, you know who
Yeah.
didn't? The Undertaker, and that's all that matters. Well, I mean, he did American Badass for a little, but you know.
Well, he was always the Undertaker. He had just had, he was the Dead Man. It was Undertaker, the Dead Man. Undertaker, the American Badass. Undertaker, whatever. It
The
was
Dead
always
Man
Undertaker.
scared me. I'll be honest.
He's my favorite wrestler because the first time when I was younger, I thought wrestling was stupid, and then my friend told me to watch it one time, and I was probably like 7 or 8, like in a little elementary school me.
5 years ago.
Listen, Michael, all because you remember World War II vividly doesn't mean that I'm that young. But I remember watching it. His first match, it was Undertaker versus R-Truth. I still remember that. And he walked down to the ring, and it scared the hell out of me. I was like, what is happening right now?
And that's why he's your favorite. Like he scared you to death. And it's like, oh.
But then I realized he was just cool, and I was like, yo, I had a fat head of him on my wall when I was younger. Until I replaced him with my uncle Derek Jeter.
Oh, okay. At least it wasn't Tom.
No, Tom's on the other side.
Yeah, I know.
Actually, it looks pretty cool in my room because my Tom Brady fat head is throwing the football, and then Jeter is hitting a ball. So it kind of looks like they're playing.
Nice. But, and I loved Undertaker because the last ride where he grabs the guy's hand and tight ropes to the middle of the ropes between the two corners.
Oh, that was old school. The last ride was the power bomb, baby.
That was
yes. I promise you right now.
What was the rope walking?
It was called. They always used to say Undertaker going old school. I never knew what the actual move was called. They just used to say old school.
All right. But anyway, that move was just the athleticism to pull that off at 40-some years old is just amazing.
Gosh, we're talking about baseball and wrestling. We might never get a view ever again.
Yeah, I was there thinking we have went far
way off the rails. All right,
well, you know what?
Listen,
listen. It's backstop banter. The banter part is going to happen, people. We're here for entertainment purposes, okay? So you know what? Deal with it, as I like to say. You know, am I right?
I mean, I'm just going to say the NWO Wolfpack was the best group of guys ever in wrestling.
The original.
I was too young for that, so.
Stone
Cold's a legend, though.
Yes.
I never was a big fan of Stone Cold.
You're weird. That's not even like a humanly possible thing. That's like not
even
air. Everybody likes Stone Cold.
He fought the man for years.
I mean, yeah. The reason I didn't like him because I hated the fans. Like every time he'd say something, they'd go, "What?"
What?
I was like, and they got on my nerves. I'm like, can he not say a what? A sentence and what? God.
Listen, this man was out there smashing beers. Oh, what a guy! I wish I grew up in that era. Though that seemed like so much fun.
Bill Goldberg, he was a beast.
Yes,
this is also true. But listen, before we get start a wrestling podcast as well,
let's go.
We'll wrap it up there. I guess we got the Cubbies in, we got the White Sox in, a little Bauer chat as well. So. It was a full circle show, We talked about the things we were supposed to, and then we went back to Michael's favorite topic in the world, which is Trevor Bauer. So
yes,
and I even got to sneak in Aaron Judge a couple of times. So
I mean,
it's
a
okay.
couple of times it'd be like, man, it's awful pretty outside. Speaking of pretty, Aaron Judge got new teeth.
Well, listen, all I'm saying is he looks great. Those new looks great.
Garrett, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Please go ahead and plug whatever you feel like you need to.
Well, I got to pay the bills, Michael. What are we doing here?
Oh, well, let's pay the bills.
Come on, Michael. You know how things work around here. It's like our 8th episode, guy.
I mean,
no, it's definitely more than 8. Yeah, I was going to say.
But yes.
All right. So I don't have the things up anymore, but make sure you head over to mybookie.ag. Use code USM100 to double your first deposit up to $1,000. Listen, if you're into the betting world, make sure you go and check it out. We got everything going on right now. The NBA, NHL, as you know, baseball is coming back 30-something days. Spring training games are this weekend. Oh, boy.
I don't get excited for spring training.
I listen, at this point, I'll take any baseball there is. I really will. So, spring training games are this weekend. The season starts, I believe, April 1st, it might be. So, I know there's
I think so.
Quadruple header on opening day, so make sure you check that out. There's fights going on all the time. NASCAR, if you're into that, make sure you go and bet on that. Then, of course, with your winnings, you got to head on over to RXM-USN. Saves you 10% on your order. Like I said, we get snow all the time in New York now. It's basically the Arctic. It was like 50 degrees the other day. That's shorts weather. Not so, I'm just saying. Make sure you check out RXM. If you're tired from shoveling rubber, little RXM, you'll feel brand spanking new in the morning. Then, of course, as Michael is showing you right now, make sure you check out some of the merch. We got everything. Backstop Banter has some merch, business casual basketball, keeping it blunt. Saturday standouts, People's XFL. I mean, basically, ladies first. We have everything. The fourth man, listen, we have everything. I could sit here all day and talk about it. So make sure you check out the merch. And let me tell you something. If you like that merch, you could also go over to the Patreon account we have. And you can go and check that out because $1 you're supporting the squad. Tell us that you like what we do. $5. You get 10% off that beautiful store. Oh, where's we got Skura at the end of the show popping up, but he's on YouTube. So listen, that's the other thing. Make sure you go check out our YouTube channel because we're gonna get that popping off too. Periscope is going away very, very soon.
Well, time out.
Pause. My God, I saw the comment. And I really got to sit here through this.
Thank you, Cheese. I appreciate that.
Come on, Matt.
Let's just leave that up. Keep going. Continue on.
I'll take it down right now if you don't, so it's no problem.
Okay, I will get right on.
But listen, if you liked that story that Michael was just showing you, $1 you're supporting the squad, $5 you get entered into an Amazon gift card giveaway, 10% off that store, and you get access to our exclusive Discord chat where we're talking about everything. So make sure you go and check that out. And then the $10 tier, you get everything I just said. Plus the 10% goes to 20%. And you also get entered into a Keenan Allen signed jersey giveaway. And let me tell you something. It's beautiful. It really is beautiful. And like I said, I can't digress on what the next giveaway is. But let me tell you, that one's beautiful too. So make sure you check it out. We're going to have high caliber giveaways all of the time. So make sure you check out the Patreon account. Listen, you could be a businessman real quick. Let's just do some math here, guys. Ready for this? And I wasn't very good at math. $10 you join. You win the signed jersey. I'm keeping it. I'm mounting it on the wall. Oh, yeah. Even if you want to resell it, make a little money for yourself, you could do that too. So just check out the Patreon, support the squad, but that will do it for paying the bills. We'll get into the outro real quick. You got to go with the guests first, of course. So, Garrett, what you got going on?
All right. I did confirm April 1st is opening day, and all 30 teams will be playing. So let's go. Excited for that.
Also, did you confirm that the beard is pretty strong right now?
No. I didn't see it, actually. Must have missed it.
But I am Garrett from Iowa. You can find me on Twitter and TikTok, Garrett from Iowa. And also with Periscope going down, I have started a Twitch channel, Garrett_from_Iowa, where I will be streaming the People's XFL show every Wednesday night, 9 Eastern, 8 Central. We cover all the alternate football leagues, doing a lot of player interviews, and talking to a lot of guys with the FCF right now. So, because fan-controlled football is what's going on for football, and we got some FCS coming up. So football things are happening, and we're talking about them.
Michael?
Garrett, are you ever what are you going to do if you move, out of Iowa?
I will still be Garrett from Iowa, born and raised Iowa farm boy. There is a legit discussion going on in my house. This isn't something this is like a 2 or 3 year plan, but there is a legit discussion going on in my house about moving to Texas where the Weiss family is. So,
oh, nice.
But even like I said, that's not anything that's happening like in the near future. And even if it does, I'm still going to be Garrett from Iowa. You will still find the Vipers and the Hawkeyes and the Cubs and the Bears, all the Iowa stuff.
The Bears.
The Bears. I'm not just because I moved down to Texas, I ain't gonna start switching teams or anything like Texas. That. And I will still be Garrett from Iowa.
Well, also, as we go on to me, he said, MD Lawson00 is my Twitter. It's my Instagram. It's whatever you can think of. But Unwrapped Sports also has a new app that we are totally diving into right now. It is Sports Me. I'm going to try to see if I can pull it up here. Nope, can't see it, but I'll go ahead and
Dude, I love that.
Sports Me.
It's so much fun.
It's not this chick. Hey, look. Oh, we even are on the advertisement now on there. All right. We making it big. But I really enjoy the app. It's almost, as Perry says, come find us on Sports Me.
Well, listen, you can actually type in USN.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. All you got to do is go to the search bar, type in USN. Every one of us that has our Sports Meet going has that at the end of our name. So mine would be MD Lawson00 USN. And what's cool about it, it's almost like a sports TikTok, if you will. It's like 30 seconds to maybe 45-second videos where I could come on here and say, hey, Sports Me, Michael from Unwrapped Sports Network, co-host with Backstop Banter. We had a discussion about how bad Aaron Judge will be this year. My co-host is very biased and being a homer, thinks he's top 5. What do you guys think? And then you can chime into my video and what it calls is battle it out, basically. So go check that out. Go follow us all. It's really just a fun way that we can kind of communicate and do small clips about sports discussion as well.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm all over that place. All over that app.
That's all you need to know. Garrett said it's awesome.
Yes, sir. You done, Michael?
I mean, I guess.
No, I just want to make sure. I don't want to interrupt anything.
I am never done. Let's talk for days.
Oh, well, listen, I got some things to do, so you could talk to yourself. It's fine. It's
never mind. We got to quit.
As for me, quit. No, that never. We'll always
the episode.
As for me, I'm kind of a busy man recently, so obviously Thursdays, make sure you tune in to Backstop Banter. Me and Michael doing baseball things all the time. It's definitely going to pick up a lot with not only us, but just more content out of the whole baseball department when the season actually starts. Like I said, spring training is coming up, so make sure you check out that. But Backstop Banter, 10 Eastern every Thursday. Mondays, I have Generational Sports with me and Josh and Neres, so make sure you check that out. We talk about a little bit of everything going on there. I was supposed to have Troy Wingo on the show last week. No, the previous week. He is now scheduled to come on March 8th, so check out that episode. I'm excited to say the least. Troy Wingo, former ESPN star, has a solid podcast now called Half Forgotten History. Very fun listen if you haven't listened to that. But make sure you check that out. That is Mondays at 7 Eastern. And then Tuesdays, I have the hard count with me and CJ. Everything football, NFL. We've had some FCF guys on as well. Like Garrett said, we have, basically everybody on. So if you're ever interested in coming on that as well, make sure you check that out. But yeah, Generational Sports, Hard Count, Backstop Banter, and of course, I'm streaming on Twitch as well. I put all the podcast episodes on Twitch, some gaming stuff here and there. You got to get back into it. I dove into it real deep, and then I kind of backed off a little bit. A little busy with school. I can't stream during school, you know what I mean? Although I do still play, Xbox during my class. But make sure you check out the Twitch, Anthony_Conover. Anthony Conover _ is my Twitter, or Gen Z Sports for the podcast. So make sure you check us out. But as for me, I'm all done.
Also, real quick, Backstop Banter's podcast. Go subscribe,
yes,
notification on there. Rate us. Say Michael is awesome.
Listen, all I'm saying is, too, if you got 99 cents laying around, $5 laying around, $10 laying around, you can support the podcast as well. There's a little support button. If you need help finding it, don't worry. I got you. If you want to support you, don't worry. I'll help you find it. So if you got a little cheddar laying around, support the pod. Feel free. We would greatly appreciate it. Make sure you buy the merch as well, baby, because we work hard on these things. But as for me, that is all. Great episode, fellas. As per usual, we will catch you next time.